I was moved between rooms to keep a secret no one would name. They assigned me to the main house in late spring. I thought it was ordinary work cleaning parlors, polishing silver, dusting shelves. But within days, I noticed the pattern. I was sent to one wing when certain visitors arrived. I was moved to another wing when different guests called. The schedules changed, not by accident, but by design. I was being positioned like a piece on a board, and I did not yet know the game being played. The rooms were identical, same wallpaper, same furniture, same light through the windows, but the rules were opposite. In one room, I arranged flowers. In the other, I removed them. In one room, I knocked before entering. In the other, I entered without sound. Someone was hiding something by making it look ordinary. Then whispers replaced instructions. The household began to avoid naming anything directly. They said the matter instead of the truth. They said discretion when they meant deception. Doors stayed closed longer than before. Conversations stopped when certain people entered rooms. And I was kept visible in some moments and invisible in others. Always alone, always watching. By summer, the secret began to show. What had been hidden started to surface, and the household grew desperate to control what could no longer be controlled. That is when I understood. I was not there to work. I was there to be forgotten. I was there to be the one who saw nothing, knew nothing, remembered nothing, but I remembered everything. This testimony belongs to the chronicles of KOFIA record of truths that were never meant to survive. If you will stand as a witness to what I saw, mark this testimony so others may find it. If you recognize the weight of what was hidden, signal that recognition. And if you carry judgment or reflection on what powerful men believe they can bury, speak it now. They thought silence could divide truth and keep it obedient. But what happens when the one they tried to make invisible refuses to forget? I am assigned inside the main house on a Tuesday morning in late spring. The overseer tells me nothing except to follow the head housemaid. She is a thin white woman with gray hair pulled tight against her skull. Her name is Mrs. Dalton, but no one calls her by name. We call her ma'am, or we say nothing at all. She leads me through the back entrance, past the kitchen where the cook is already working, past the servants' quarters where I slept last night, and into the main house proper. The floors are polished wood that reflects light from tall windows. The walls are covered in paper with tiny flowers repeated endlessly. Everything smells like beeswax and lavender. You will clean the south parlor today, Mrs. Dalton says. Her voice is flat. Tomorrow you will be told where to work. Do not ask questions. Do not speak unless spoken to. I nod. I say nothing. She leaves me with a bucket and rags and brushes. I clean the parlor. I dust the furniture. I polish the brass candlesticks. I sweep the floor. The room is empty the entire time. The next day, Mrs. Dalton moves me to the east wing. I scrubbed floors in a hallway no one uses. The day after that, I polish silver in the dining hall. The day after that, I work in the library reshelving books. I observe the pattern immediately. They move me between tasks without explanation. One day, I am visible. The next day, I am hidden. One day, one work in public rooms. The next day, I work in private spaces. No one tells me why, but I begin to understand. The schedules change to keep me unseen by certain people. When the master's brother visits on Thursday, I am sent to work in the attic. When the neighboring landowner calls on Friday, I am told to clean the third-floor bedrooms. When the minister comes for Sunday dinner, I am assigned to the carriage house. I am being moved like a piece on a game board. I remember how hunters move game through the forest back home. They do not chase the animal directly. Instead, they push it gently, step by step, toward the killing ground. The animal thinks it chooses its own path. The animal does not see the trap until the trap closes. I note which doors open only at certain hours. I note which rooms I am never sent to clean. I note the pattern of absence. The white man thinks I do not see these things. The white man thinks my eyes are for work and nothing else. But I am always watching. I have been watching since the day they brought me here in chains. I have been watching since the day I was taken from my land. Watching is how I survive. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. It is always there. I carried it across the ocean. I carried it through the auction block. I carry it now. The weight is small and smooth. It is shaped like a seed. My father gave it to me when I was a boy. He said it represented balance, the balance a merchant must keep when measuring truth against lies, when measuring value against theft. I keep it to remember who I was before they renamed me, before they called me property. The white man thinks he took everything, but he did not take this. I do not forget. I never forget. They send me to the West Wing in the morning. The room is painted pale blue. The furniture is dark wood. Sunlight comes through windows that face the garden. In the afternoon, they send me to the East Wing. The room is painted pale blue. The furniture is dark wood. Sunlight comes through windows that face the road. The rooms are identical. Same wallpaper pattern. Same type of chairs. Same height of ceilings. Same light quality. But the rules are completely different. In the West Wing, I must knock before entering, even if I know the room is empty. In the East Wing, I must enter without sound, without announcement. In the West Wing, I am told to arrange fresh flowers in a vase on the table. In the East Wing, I am told to remove all flowers immediately. I observe how identical spaces hold opposite commands. This triggers something in my memory. The feeling arrives before the image. I remember twin masks used in festivals back home. During the harvest celebration, the priest wore 2 masks. He would hold one in each hand and alternate between them as he danced. One mask showed joy-wide smile, bright colors. One mask showed sorrow-down turned mouth, dark paint, the same face. 2 different truths. My mother explained it to me when I was young. She said the masks taught us that what appears the same on the surface can serve completely different purposes underneath. She said appearance is a tool, and tools can be used in opposite ways. The elders said, what appears the same can hide what is different. What appears different can hide what is the same. I apply this memory to the rooms. 2 identical spaces, 2 different purposes. Someone is hiding something by making it look ordinary. I keep my questions silent. I work alone in both wings. I do not ask why one room requires flowers and the other forbids them. I do not ask why one room demands announcement and the other demands stealth. The white man thinks questions are dangerous only when spoken aloud, but questions asked silently are more dangerous. Silent questions create observations. Observations create patterns. Patterns create understanding, and understanding is the thing they fear most. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. The house routines begin to bend like river reeds in current. Morning duties shift to afternoon without explanation. Afternoon duties disappear entirely for days, then reappear in altered form. I am told to work in certain rooms only when certain people are absent from the house. I observe how authority relies on silence more than command. No one orders me directly anymore. Instead, Mrs. Dalton positions me with a gesture, a slight movement of her hand. Toward a doorway means, go there. The butler, a tall white man named Mr. Hensworth, moves me with a glance. His eyes flick toward the stairs, and I know to go upstairs. The cook, an older black woman, everyone calls Aunt Sarah, though she is no one's aunt, instructs me through the tilt of her chin. Instructions come through absence of speech. The household has developed a silent language. This reminds me of something that happened long ago. I remember the elders warning us as children in my village. We were sitting in the compound in the evening. The fire was low. The elder's face was serious. He said, when powerful people do wrong, they do not announce it. They hide it. And secrecy replaces consent when power fears daylight. I did not understand fully then. I was only 12 years old, but I remember the weight in his voice. I remember how the other adults nodded. In my land, this meant someone was hiding shame. I comply with every unspoken rule now. I count my steps between room 17 steps from the kitchen to the south parlor, 23 steps from the south parlor to the main staircase. I measure the minutes I remain unseen, 40 minutes in the attic, 15 minutes in the cellar, 6 minutes crossing the garden to the carriage house. I am mapping the house through my invisibility. The white man thinks silence means ignorance. The white man thinks if I do not speak, I do not think. If I do not question, I do not understand. But silence is also observation. Silence is measurement. Silence is the space where truth reveals itself. I watch the master's schedule. I watch the mistress's movements. I watch how they avoid each other in hallways and how they time their appearances in shared rooms. Something is wrong in this house. Something is being hidden, and I am being positioned around that hidden thing like furniture arranged to block an ugly stain on the floor. An older woman manages the linens. Her name is Martha, but everyone calls her the linen keeper. She is black, perhaps 50 years old, with hands that move with absolute certainty. She has worked in this house longer than anyone else. The other servants defer to her without question. Martha signals where I should stand. She shows me when to leave. Her directions come through the tilt of her head or the movement of her hands. One morning, I am carrying sheets to the washroom. Martha is folding pillowcases. She does not look at me, but as I pass, she tilts her head slightly to the left. I understand, immediately put the sheets on the left table, not the right. Later that afternoon, I am polishing brass in the hallway. Martha walks past, carrying an armful of towels. She does not speak, but her eyes cut toward the door at the end of the hall. I understand, leave now, before whoever is in that room emerges. I observe how knowledge moves through chores. She folds sheets in a certain way when danger is near corners, tucked tight, edges crisp. She stacks pillowcases in a different order when the coast is clear white on top, colored underneath. The household speaks through small adjustments that look like ordinary work. The coordination triggers a memory that comes sharp and clear. I remember women guiding movement during danger back home. When raiders approached our village, the women did not shout warnings. Instead, they arranged water jars in patterns outside their compounds. 3 jars in a line meant move north toward the forest. 2 jars with one offset meant hide in the root cellars. 1 jar turned on its side meant run immediately. Do not gather belongings. The men watched the perimeter. But the women created a language of survival. The elders said, "The powerless create languages. The powerful cannot read." I trust Martha's timing completely now. When she nods, I move. When she looks away, I stay. When she touches her left shoulder, I know to be cautious. When she touches her right shoulder, I know the immediate danger has passed. That is when I know I am not the only one watching. Martha sees what I see. Martha understands what I understand. And Martha is protecting me, though I do not yet know from what. The white man thinks we are isolated from each other. The white man thinks we cannot communicate, cannot organize, cannot share information. But we speak every day. We speak in folded sheets and stacked towels and tilted heads. We speak in the language of the powerless, and the powerless have been speaking this language for a very long time. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Whispers replace instructions. As summer deepens, the butler whispers to Mrs. Dalton in the pantry. Mrs. Dalton whispers to the cook in the hallway. The cook whispers to Martha in the washroom. Martha whispers nothing to me, but her eyes carry messages. I observe how the house avoids naming anything directly. They say the matter instead of the truth. We must be discreet about the matter, Mrs. Dalton tells the butler. They say the situation instead of the fact. The situation requires careful management. The butler tells the cook. They say discretion when they mean deception. Discretion is essential. Everyone tells everyone, but no one says what the matter is. No one names the situation. No one explains why discretion is essential. No memory surfaces now. Only caution. I learn which corridors echo least. The east hallway with a thick carpet absorbs sound, while the west hallway with bare floors carries whispers from room to room. I learn which floorboards announce footsteps. The third board from the top of the main staircase creaks loudly, but the fourth and fifth boards are silent. I learn which walls carry sound between rooms. The wall between the library and the study is thin. The wall between the dining room and the kitchen is thick. Sound travels up through the house more easily than across. I am learning the architecture of secrecy. The white man thinks walls create privacy. The white man builds rooms and closes doors and believes he has sealed off his secrets. But walls are thin. Wood conducts sound. Space carries voices. And secrets are loud. Even when whispered, I do not forget. I never forget. Every detail is stored. Every pattern is noted. Every contradiction is marked. When the truth finally reveals itself, I will recognize it immediately, because I have been watching its shadow for months. The household authority grows sharper as July arrives. The master's voice cuts through rooms like a blade. His footsteps are heavy. His door slams. His commands are brief and harsh. The mistress's orders arrive with urgency that was not there before. She rings the bell insistently. She changes her mind 3 times about simple things. She dismisses servants from her presence suddenly. Control tightens around everything's schedules, movements, words. I observe denial harden into routine. They pretend nothing is wrong. The master smiles during meals when guests are present. The mistress laughs at appropriate moments during afternoon calls. They maintain appearances during visits with extraordinary effort. But behind closed doors, the tension coils like rope pulled from both ends. I hear arguments through walls. I see red eyes at breakfast. I watch how they time their movements to avoid encounters. This pressure recalls something from long ago. I remember stories the elders told about chiefs who pretended a problem was small to keep face. There was one story in particular about a chief who ignored cracks in the communal granary because admitting the structure was failing would mean admitting he had chosen the wrong location to build it. The cracks widened. The chief continued to deny them. He ordered the women to store grain as if nothing was wrong. The granary collapsed during the rainy season. Half the village's food was lost. Another story told of a chief who dismissed smoke rising from the far end of the compound. He said it was nothing, just cooked fires. He refused to investigate because it would mean admitting something in his domain was burning. The fires spread. 3 compounds were destroyed, the elder said. Pride delays truth, but does not prevent it. The longer you deny what is real, the harder reality strikes when it arrives. I watched the cracks in this household widen. I watched the smoke rise. I watched denial operate with desperate energy. The white man thinks he can control outcomes by controlling information, but outcomes do not care what you call them. Truth does not wait for permission to arrive. I wait. I watch the cracks widen. I watch the smoke thicken. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. The weight reminds me of balance, and balance means that what goes up must come down. What is hidden must eventually surface. What is denied must eventually speak. I exchange a look with Martha on a Wednesday afternoon in late July. We are folding linens in the washroom. The windows are open. Hot air moves through the room without cooling anything. Sweat runs down my back. Martha's hands pause over a pillowcase. She has been folding for 10 minutes without stopping. Her movements automatic and precise. But now she stops. Her eyes meet mine. I observe, understanding pass without speech. In that look, I see that. She knows. I see what she sees. In that look, she sees that I know she protects what I protect. We agree without words to move carefully, to observe longer, to speak never. The look is brief, maybe 3 seconds. Then Martha returns to folding, and I return to stacking. But everything has changed. The look recalls something deep in my memory. I remember chosen kinship formed under risk back home. My friend Quam was not my blood brother, but he became my brother when my father was killed. When the raiders came and families were separated, those who remained created new bonds. When blood ties broke, sworn ties replaced them. The elders said, danger creates its own families. Shared risk creates loyalty deeper than shared blood. Martha is not my blood. We do not come from the same village. We do not speak the same language, her. People were taken from a different region than mine. We do not share history or lineage, but she is my kin now. We are bound by shared understanding and shared danger. We agree silently to move slowly, to observe longer, to protect each other without announcement. The white man thinks we cannot organize because we are not allowed to gather. The white man thinks we cannot plan because we are not allowed to speak freely. But organization does not require permission. Planning does not require open speech. We organize through glances. We plan through the language of folded linens and careful timing. The white man thinks power comes from authority, but power also comes from understanding. And right now, Martha and I understand more than anyone in this house realizes. We understand that something is breaking. We understand that when it breaks, blame will flow downward like water. We understand that we need to be ready. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. I pause before continuing this account. I sit in my quarters at night with a stub of candle and a piece of paper I took from the library. I write these words slowly, carefully, knowing the danger of speaking what was never named. To write these truths is to risk everything. If this paper is found, I will be punished. If these words are read, I will be sold or worse. But I am Kofi. I am a witness. And witnesses do not ask permission to remember. I was brought to this land against my will. I was stripped of my name and my language and my freedom. I was told I am property, not a person. But they cannot strip me of my eyes. They cannot take my memory. They cannot stop me from understanding what I see. So I write. I record. I witness. Time becomes the transition now. Weeks pass. The household changes shape like clay under pressure. What was hidden begins to show. What was denied begins to surface. The mistress's garments change. Her posture shifts. Her schedule alters. The servants notice, but say nothing. The master grows more agitated, but explains nothing. The household tightens, like a fist around something everyone sees, but no one names. That is, when I know the secret cannot hold much longer. Secrets are like water held in cupped hands. You can hold water for a short time if you are very careful, but eventually, your fingers tire, your hands shake. The water finds the gaps. This secret has been held for months. The hands are tired now. The gaps are widening. I do not forget. I never forget. I write these words, and I hide this paper, and I wait for the water to spill. Changes in the household become impossible to miss as August arrives. The mistress walks differently, where before she moved with quick, light steps. Now her movements are slower, more careful. Her posture shifts forward slightly, as if balancing a weight. Her garments adjust to looser fabrics, darker color shawls worn even in heat. The staff pretends not to notice, but everyone sees. I observe concern replace confidence in every face. Mrs. Dalton's mouth forms a thin line whenever she looks at the mistress. The butler's forehead creases during meals. The cook shakes her head when she thinks no one is watching. Conversations stop abruptly when the mistress enters rooms. Schedules reorganize around her presence. She takes breakfast in her room now, not in the dining room. She receives no visitors. She walks in the garden only at dawn when no one else is awake. The master's visits to her chambers become more frequent and more urgent. I see him enter her wing 3, 4, 5 times a day. I hear raised voices behind closed doors. This shift triggers a clear memory from my childhood. I remember the elders saying, "Secrets rot fastest when outcomes arrive." They were talking about a woman in our village who had hidden a pregnancy. She wrapped her belly in cloth. She wore loose garments. She avoided gatherings. But pregnancy is not something you can hide forever. When the child was born, the truth emerged complete and undeniable. The secret rotted all at once. The elders said, "You can hide seeds in dark soil, but when the plant grows, it breaks through into sunlight. You can delay truth, but you cannot stop it. In my land, this meant truth grows visible, no matter how deeply you bury it. The white man thinks time erases evidence. The white man thinks if you do not speak about something, it does not exist. But time reveals everything. Silence does not erase facts. Denial does not prevent outcomes. The outcome is arriving now. I see it in the mistress's changed shape. I see it in the master's desperate energy. I see it in the household's collective pretense. I steady myself. The reckoning is coming. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Balance is coming. Movement inside the house slows in me doggers, then stops entirely. The mistress remains in her chambers. The door to her wing stays closed for entire days. Visitors are turned away at the entrance misses. Dalton tells callers that the mistress is unwell, indisposed, resting. The usual social calls cease completely. I observed doors kept shut longer than before. The household operates in whispers now. Meals are delivered to the mistress's chambers on trays. Messages are passed through Mrs. Dalton. No one enters the mistress's wing except Martha, who brings fresh linens, and the master, who enters without knocking. The house becomes a series of locked rooms with silence, filling the spaces between. The stillness recalls something from my past. I remember waiting periods before truth is announced at home. When someone died, the family stayed hidden for 3 days, while the elders prepared the burial rituals. The compound went silent. No one worked. No one cooked. Everyone waited. When Scand arrived, when a young man was caught stealing, when a betrothal was broken, when a boundary dispute turned violent, same silence descended. The families involved retreated into their compounds. The village waited, the elders said. Silence before announcement is the same as admission. When people stop pretending everything is normal, it means they are preparing to acknowledge what is real. I do nothing now except what I am told. I wait where I am told to wait. I work where I am told to work. I do not ask questions. I do not offer observations. I simply exist in the spaces they assign me, watching everything. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. The balance is shifting. I feel it in the house's changed rhythm. I see it in the closed doors and whispered consultations. Something is about to break. Martha warns me to be visible in ordinary ways. She pulls me aside in the hallway outside the washroom. Her voice is barely sound, more breath than words. Stay where they can see you, she says. Her eyes are serious. Do not hide. Do not disappear. Do your work where eyes can find you. I observe how normalcy can protect more than hiding. I understand immediately what she means. If I vanish, if I change my routines, if I make myself scarce, they will wonder why. They will ask what I know. They will question what I have seen. But if I remain steady, if I continue my ordinary patterns, I become invisible through familiarity. The ordinary becomes camouflage. Routine becomes protection. Her counsel echoes village strategies of safety I remember from childhood. When danger passed through our region, when raiders came looking for captives, when soldiers came collecting taxes, when fevers spread through compounds, the elders taught us how to survive. They said, do not run because running attracts attention. Do not change your behavior because change signals fear. Do not hide because hiding signals guilt. Instead, maintain your routines. Work in your fields. Fetch your water. Grind your grain. Move through your days as if nothing is wrong, the elder said. The suspicious eye seeks disruption, not continuity. The hunter looks for the animal that bolts, not the one that grazes calmly. I adjust my posture based on Martha's warning. I work with steady hands. I keep my face neutral. I perform my tasks at the same pace I have always used. I clean the south parlor on Tuesday, just as I have for months. I polish silver on Wednesday. I dust the library on Thursday. I maintain the pattern. The white man thinks calm means acceptance. The white man thinks if I appear unbothered, I must not understand what is happening. But calm is also armor. Calm is strategy. Calm is the face I show, while my mind works behind it. I am visible and ordinary and forgettable. And while I am forgettable, I am watching everything. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Balance requires steadiness. Martha knows this. I know this. We remain steady while the house falls apart around us. Questions circulate without answers. As August ends and September begins, the staff whispers about dates and timing. The butler calculates months on his fingers when he thinks no one is looking. The cook counts weeks under her breath while stirring pots. Mrs. Dalton marks her calendar with small pencil marks. Everyone knows what no one will say. I observe denial strain underweight. The master's face tightens during the rare meals he still takes in the dining room. His jaw is clenched. His eyes are hard. He eats little and drinks much. The mistress avoids mirrors. I see her turn her face away when passing the large mirror in the hallway. I see her close her eyes when Martha brings the hand mirror for her hair. The house pretends everything is normal, while everything changes. Routines continue but feel hollow. Mrs. Dalton still inspects rooms for dust. The butler still sets the table for dinner. The cook still prepares 3 meals a day. But there is no life behind the actions. We are performing normalcy while waiting for reality. No memory surfaces now. Only consequence approaching like a storm on the horizon. I remain where eyes can find me. I keep 2 visible spaces. I answer when called. I work when told to work. That is when I know the protection Martha offers is real. The household will need someone to blame when this breaks open. When power faces exposure, it searches for target. When shame needs a vessel, it looks for the powerless. I prepare myself. I understand what is coming. The key memory arrives fully now, sharp and complete. I remember the elder's final warning before I was taken. We were standing in the compound. The raiders were organizing their captives. I was chained to Kwame and 3 others. The elder approached. He was old, perhaps 70. His face was lined deep. He gripped my shoulder with surprising strength and pulled me close. He said, "Kofi, listen to me. When powerful people create shame, they do not carry it themselves. They will not accept consequence. They will place it on the powerless instead. Watch for the moment they choose their vessel. Watch for the moment they point. And when they point, do not be where their finger aims." I did not understand fully then. I was terrified. I was 18 years old and chained and being taken from everything I knew. But I remember his words exactly. I have carried them for 5 years across ocean and auction block and plantation. In my land, this meant survival required recognition of that exact moment, the moment when power chooses its scapegoat. The moment is here now. I feel it approaching. The household is preparing to point. The question is only where the finger will aim. I do not forget. I never forget. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. This is when everything changes. This is when I must decide what truth costs and whether I will pay it. This is when I must balance survival against witnessing, and I do not yet know which way the scale will tip. Household authority meets privately and often in the first week of September. The master calls the butler into his study. The door closes. I hear low voices through the wall but cannot make out words. The butler emerges 20 minutes later. He's Fossey Polly. The butler calls Mrs. Dalton into the pantry. They speak in urgent whispers. I am polishing silver in the dining room, and I hear fragments, discretion, arrangements, absolutely essential. Mrs. Dalton calls Martha to her room. I do not hear this conversation, but Martha's expression afterward tells me everything. Her mouth is tight. Her eyes are worried. I observe fear of exposure replace control throughout the house. The master paces his study. I hear his footsteps through the ceiling when I work downstairs, back and forth, like a caged animal. The butler drinks brandy in the afternoon, which he never did before. Mrs. Dalton snaps at servants over small mistakes. The fear recalls something I witnessed years ago. I remember chiefs cornered by outcomes they denied back home. When the granary collapsed, when the fires spread, when the harvests failed, the chiefs who had ignored warnings suddenly became desperate. They called urgent meetings. They made frantic plans. They tried to control narratives after they had lost control of events. The elders said, "Power that relies on denial becomes panic when denial fails." I keep to my duties. I clean what I am told to clean. I work where I am told to work. I speak only when spoken to. But I am watching. I am always watching. The household is preparing something. Decisions are being made. Plans are being formed. And I am not included in those plans, except as a piece to be moved. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Whispers turn to decisions in mid-September. The master announces that the mistress will be going away for her health. He tells this to the butler, who tells Mrs. Dalton, who tells the rest of the staff. The mistress requires rest and recuperation, Mrs. Dalton says at the servants' morning meeting. Her voice is formal. She will be staying with family in the country for several months. We will maintain the household in her absence. No one asks questions. We all nod. But I observe blame begin its search even before the mistress leaves. The master's temper grows worse. He shouts at the butler over wine served at the wrong temperature. He dismisses a maid for arranging flowers incorrectly. He finds fault with everything. He is testing his power, I realize. He is reminding everyone that he controls consequences. The moment recalls warnings I heard long ago. The elders said, when power faces shame, it looks for someone to punish. The punishment is not about justice. The punishment is about reasserting control. I prepare for displacement. I know it is coming. I am the newest servant. I am the most isolated. I am black in a house where most servants are white. I am male in a household where most indoor workers are female. I am visible and different and vulnerable. Martha sees this too. I know because she begins to arrange things. The linen keeper arranges my reassignment quietly in late September. She speaks to Mrs. Dalton in the washroom. I am not present, but the cook tells me about it later. Martha suggested you'd be better used in the stables. The cookie sees. Her voice is careful. Said your skills are wasted on housework. Said you should be moved to outdoor labor. I understand immediately what Martha is doing. She is moving me away from the center of the household. She is creating distance between me and the coming storm. I observe protection disguised as order. To anyone listening, it sounds like a practical suggestion about labor efficiency. But Martha is shielding me by moving me to the margins before the center collapses. Her action recalls elders shielding witnesses by moving them early. When trouble came to a compound back home, the elders quietly moved certain people's children, pregnant women, anyone who might be targeted to neighboring compounds. They did this before the raiders arrived, before the soldiers came, before the violence started. They said, the people who survive are the people who are not present when the pointing begins. Martha is making sure I am not present. I accept the reassignment without question. Mrs. Dalton tells me on a Tuesday morning, you will work in the stables starting tomorrow, she says. Report to Thomas, the head groom. He will instruct you. Yes, ma'am, I say. She looks at me for a long moment. I see something in her eyes, relief, perhaps, or calculation. She is glad to have me out of her domain. I am being moved to the margins. I am being made invisible. And this chimey invisibility is safety. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Silence breaks into instruction in early October. The master calls all the servants together in the main hall. We stand in a line. He addresses us formally. There have been rumors, he says. His voice is hard. Malicious rumors, untrue rumors. I will not tolerate gossip in my household. He looks at each of us in turn. Anyone caught spreading rumors will be dismissed immediately. Anyone caught discussing family matters will face consequences. Discretion is not optional. It is required. We all nod. We say, yes, sir. I observe the house. Choose survival over truth. The master is drawing a line. He is making clear that loyalty means silence, that employment means complicity. He is protecting his reputation by threatening ours. The memory withdraws now. I do not think of home. I do not think of elders or warnings. I simply stand and listen and nod. The reckoning is here. It is no longer approaching. It is present. The household has chosen its strategy. Silence, denial, dispersal. The mistress will go away. The servants will say nothing. The master will continue as if nothing happened, and anyone who threatens this plan will be removed. I am already being removed. Martha ensured it. I will be in the stables, far from the house, far from the center of power. I will survive because I am no longer visible. The The white man thinks he has controlled the outcome. The white man thinks silence can seal the truth underground. But truth does not need permission to exist. Truth exists, whether spoken or not. And I am a witness. I carry the truth in my memory. In these words I write at night, in the bronze weight in my pocket. The white man can silence my mouth, but he cannot silence my eyes. I do not forget. I never forget. I am removed from the house with little explanation on a Tuesday in mid-October. Mrs. Dalton tells me in the morning, "Gather your belongings. You will sleep in the groom's quarters now. Report to Thomas immediately." I gather my few possessions and, extra sure, a pair of socks, this paper where I write my account, the bronze weight. Everything fits in a small cloth bundle. I walk from the main house to the stables. The distance is perhaps 200 yards. I cross the yard in full daylight. I observe relief mixed with panic behind me. Mrs. Dalton watches from a window. I see her face briefly before she turns away. She looks relieved. The butler sees me leaving, and his shoulders relax visibly. Even the cookie, who has always been kind, seems glad to see me go. No memory surfaces, only fallout. I am the problem removed. I am the risk eliminated. I am the witness relocated. By moving me, they think they have protected themselves. They think distance means I cannot speak. They think my new position means I do not matter. But I matter because I remember. I matter because I saw. And nothing they do can change what I already know. The gate to the main house closes behind me. I do not look back. I report to Thomas, a white man of about 40, who has worked with horses his entire life. He is fair, but distant. Your muck stalls, feed horses, clean tack, he says. Work starts at dawn, ends at sunset. Stay out of the house. Yes, sir, I say. I am assigned a small room in the groom's quarters. It is cleaner than where I slept before. The bed has a real mattress. There is a window. I put my belongings on the bed. I touch the bronze weight to confirm it is still there. I am safe. I am distant. I am forgotten. And from Mary, I can watch the house fall apart. Stories spread that avoid names and causes in the weeks following my reassignment. I hear them in the yard. I hear them from other workers. I hear them from the grooms who still have contact with house servants. They say the mistress went to stay with relatives in the country for her health. They say she needed rest and quiet air. They say she will return in the spring. I observe language bend to shield authority. No one says she was pregnant. No one says the child is the master's. No one says she was sent away in shame. The words used are health, rest, recuperation, family visit. The truth is pregnancy, illegitimacy, scandal, exile. But the truth is not spoken. Only the lies circulate. The bending recalls how records erase what threatens lineage back home. I remember village histories that skipped over inconvenient facts. A chief who lost a war became a chief who traveled to negotiate peace. A harvest that failed became a year of modest yield. A child born outside marriage became a blessing from a distant relation. The elder said, "Those who write the stories choose which truths to include." I listen to the stories circulate. I say nothing. I work with the horses. I muck stalls and carry feed and stay silent, but I know the true story. I was there. I saw the pattern develop. I watched the secret grow visible, and I am writing it down. At night, by candlelight, I add to this account. I record what I saw. I name what happened. The white man controls the official story, but I control the true one. And truth, once written, is harder to erase than truth merely spoken. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Balance will come. Maybe not today. Maybe not in my lifetime. But truth has weight, and weight eventually tips the scale. Martha avoids my eyes when we pass in late October. I am walking from the stables to collect supplies from the house. She is carrying linens to the washroom. We meet in the yard. She sees me. I see her. We are 10 feet apart. I observe fear settle between us. Martha looks down. She adjusts her grip on the linens. She walks past without acknowledgement. I understand. I do not blame her. She protected me by moving me away. But now she cannot afford to show connection. Any association with me could transfer suspicion to her. In the household's paranoid calculation, I am contaminated. I am the one who saw too much. I am the risk. Anyone who speaks to me becomes risky too. The moment recalls the cost of chosen kinship. I remember bonds broken by necessity. Back home, when raiders took captives, families could not defend everyone. Choices had to be made. Some were protected. Others were sacrificed. The elders said, survival sometimes requires you to pretend you do not know the people you love. Martha and I are kin. We understood each other. We protected each other. But now she must pretend we are strangers. For her own survival, she must show no loyalty to me. I accept this. I do not resent it. I would do the same in her position. We say nothing. We pass like strangers. We do not look at each other again. But I remember, and I know she remembers. And that is enough. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. The household reorganizes schedules and servants in November. New workers are hired. A young white woman replaces me in the main house. A new groom is brought in to help Thomas. The staff shifts and adjusts. I observe power rearranged to endure. The master continues his routines as if nothing has changed. He hosts dinners. He entertains visitors. He conducts business. The house operates smoothly. Meals are served. Rooms are clean. Appearances are maintained. No one speaks of the mistress. No one asks when she will return. She becomes unmentioned. Like a piece of furniture removed from a room, her absence is visible only if you remember what was there before. No memory surfaces now. Only proof. The proof is in the reorganization itself. The proof is in the new servants hired to replace old loyalties. The proof is in the silence that hardens into policy. Silence becomes policy now. It is not just encouraged, it is enforced. A housemaid is dismissed in late November for mentioning the mistress's name during a conversation with a visitor. Mrs. Dalton fires her immediately. The message is clear. Even acknowledgement is forbidden. I watch this from the stables. I hear about it from the grooms. I see the dismissed maid leaving with her belongings in a small case. The household has chosen absolute denial. What is not spoken does not exist. What is not acknowledged did not happen. The white man thinks he can control reality through language. But I am still here. I still remember. I still write. And reality does not care what you call it. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Consequences appear in guarded movements and guarded faces throughout December. Everyone in the household moves carefully now. Conversations are brief. Eye contact is minimal. Trust has evaporated. I observe truth living outside words. The truth is in how Mrs. Dalton watches her staff with suspicion. The truth is in how the butler drinks more and smiles less. The truth is in how the master's temper remains sharp months after the mistress's departure. The truth is in what is not said. The sight recalls village warnings fulfilled too late. I remember elders saying, when you ignore truth, truth does not disappear. Truth accumulates. Truth builds pressure. And when truth finally breaks through, the damages worsen if you had acknowledged it early. The chief who ignored the cracking granary, he learned this. The chief who dismissed the smoke, he learned this. But learning comes too late when the granary has already collapsed. When the fire has already spread. This household is living with collapsed granary and spreading fire. They pretend the damage is contained. They pretend everything is normal. But I see the truth in their faces. I carry it. I carried the weight of what I witnessed. And the weight is heavy. But I am strong enough to bear it. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Balance means acknowledging weight. Balance means distributing truth. I acknowledge. I distribute. I write. Blame lands away from its source as winter settles in January. I hear in the new year that a young housemaid was dismissed in December. The reason given is theft. She supposedly took a silver spoon. But I know the grooms who know the kitchen staff, who know the truth. The girl did not steal anything. The girl asked too many questions about the mistress. I observe punishment masquerade as order. She is made an example. She is blamed for a crime she did not commit to justify her removal. The household needs to show that dissent has consequences. So they manufacture consequences and apply them to the vulnerable. The injustice recalls elders saying, truth always charges interest. When you deny truth, when you hide outcomes, when you silence witnesses truth, charges interest. The price grows larger the longer you wait. This household has been delaying payment for months. Now the interest is coming due, but they are not paying it themselves. They are making others pay. The dismissed maid pays. I pay by being exiled to the stables. Martha pays by having to pretend she does not know me. The powerless pay the interest on the powerful's debt. The elder said, injustice is interest paid by the wrong account. I endure. I work in the stables. I muck stalls and brush horses and carry water. I say nothing. I avoid the house. I keep my head down. But I am writing. At night, I write, and writing is a form of payment too. Writing is how I transfer the debt back to its source. Someday, someone will read this account. Someday, the true cost will be tallied. And on that day, the balance will shift. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Time passes and the house resumes its rhythm through spring. By March, the household operates as if the previous year never happened. New servants who do not know the story work alongside old servants who have been taught to forget it. Routines are stable. Meals are regular. The master entertains guests. Business continues. I observe memory persist where records fail. The official record is clean. No scandal occurred. No pregnancy happened. No mistress was exiled. But I remember. Martha remembers. The cook remembers. The dismissed maids remember. Memory lives in us, even when paper records are destroyed, even when official stories are written, even when silence is enforced. The lesson settles deep in me now. I understand what I am. I understand my purpose. I am not just a servant. I'm not just property. I am a witness, and witnesses carry truth across time. Witnesses preserve what others try to erase. The elders said, a people without witnesses are a people without history, and a people without history can be told any lie about their past. I am giving my people history. I am giving the powerless a record. I am preserving truth in a place built on lies. I remember for those who cannot. I speak for those who are silenced. I write for those who are illiterate. I am Kofi, and I will not forget. My hand finds the bronze weight in my pocket. It is still there. Balance is not immediate. Justice is not quick. But memory is patient. Truth is persistent, and I am both. I pause before ending this account on a warm evening in late April. I sit in my small room in the groom's quarters. Spring air moves through the window. I can hear horses shifting in their stalls below. I have been writing for months. This paper is filled with my account. The story is complete. I think about what to do with it now. I could burn it. That would be safe. If it is found, I will be punished severely. Enslaved people are not permitted to write. We are not permitted to keep records. We are certainly not permitted to witness against our masters. But if I burn it, the truth burns with it. I could hide it, bury it, hope someone finds it someday. But buried truth is fragile. Paper rots, ink fades, hidden things are often lost forever. I decide to keep it with me, to preserve it carefully, to protect it as long as I can. And if the opportunity comes, if I am ever free, if I ever have the power to speak openly, I will share this account. I will tell what I saw. They believed silence could divide truth and keep it obedient. The master believed he could hide his shame. The household believed it could reorganize reality through denial. It did not work. Truth cannot be divided. Truth cannot be made obedient. When truth returned, it came whole and it chooses witnesses without asking. I did not ask to be a witness. I did not ask to see what I saw. I did not ask to carry this weight, but I accepted, because the alternative is to let them win. The alternative is to let them erase what happened. The alternative is to let the powerless suffer without record. I will not allow that. I am Kofi. I was taken from my land 5 years ago. I was bought and sold and enslaved. I was stripped of freedom and dignity and choice. But I keep my eyes. I keep my memory. I keep my truth. And I keep the bronze weight in my pocket that reminds me, balance will come. Maybe not today. Maybe not in my lifetime. But truth has weight. And weight tips the scale. I fold this account carefully. I wrap it in cloth. I hide it in the hollow space beneath the floorboard under my bed. I will protect it. I will preserve it. I will carry it as long as I breathe. And if I cannot speak it myself, I will find a way to pass it on. Because witnesses do not need permission to remember. And truth does not need permission to exist. I am here. I saw. I recorded, and nothing they do can erase that fact. The bronze weight is still in my pocket. The balance is still waiting, and I am still watching. I do not forget. I never forget.